As per the module 3 of basic civil engineering KTU syllabus, we are having the topics such as building construction, which includes the foundation, type of foundation, whether shallow foundation, deep foundation, the classifications, and an intro into the load bearing and frame structures. Then we have the brick masonry, roofs and floors, the basic infrastructure services, and on the green buildings. In this lecture, we will study regarding the foundations. So, as you all know, a building is classified mainly into three portions. One is the superstructure, which is above the ground level and plinth level, and we have substructure, that is between the plinth level and the ground level, and the foundations are generally positioned below the ground level, and they transmit the entire load of the superstructure safely into the ground, so that there won't be any excessive settlement of the structure, as well as there is no shear cut failure for the soil. So in the figure you can see two types of structures. One is a small single story building and one is a big flat like structure. So for single story or like lightly loaded structures, we will go for simple footing, and for big buildings and all, we will go for the pile foundation based on the capacity of soil. So the foundation is the lowest and supporting layer of a structure, and it transfers the structural load of building safely into the ground. When you look at the various functions of foundation, so the primary objective or the primary function of the foundation is to safely distribute the load to the ground. Little in detail, it can be classified as the distribution of the load. It evenly distributes the entire load to the ground. It minimizes the unequal settlement. A well constructed or well designed foundation will have equal settlement, and there won't be any tilt for the building. As the foundation is anchored into the ground, it provides lateral stability, like for the against the wind load or earthquake load. The building is stable because of this foundation. It provides a level surface to provide the plinth and to construct the superstructure above, and it helps to be safe against the undermining by floods or burrowing of animals, because it won't allow the water to penetrate into the area, because we have a closed area and the building will be safe in that way. It prevents the to and fro motion of the soil. There are some terminologies which has to be studied by the civil engineer based for the foundation. One is the bearing capacity of soil. It is the total load that can be carried by the soil without undergoing too much settlement, or the settlement of the soil should be within the limit, and also the soil should not have any shear or cut failure. You can see in the figure there is some when the load is acting on the foundation, there can be a cut plane failure, one type of failure for soil, and can be also an settlement also. So this both has to be avoided. The ultimate bearing capacity is the total pressure intensity at which the soil fails, either in shear or in settlement. The term safe bearing capacity It is the maximum pressure which the soil can carry without the risk of shear or cut failure. So normally the excess settlement will be much delayed. The primary mode of failure will be the shear failure. The factor of safety. It is actually a ratio between the estimated strength and the design strength in a way. That means suppose if the foundation will carry a load of 100 kilonewton and we are designing it only for say 50 kilonewton. That means the foundation that is resting on the soil is 2 times safer. So the factor of safety, it is the ratio of the ultimate bearing capacity to the safe bearing capacity. Generally, the foundations are classified into two. One is shallow foundation and the other one is deep foundation. So I already told that the shallow foundations are generally used for single story or means lightly loaded structures because they don't need deeper foundations to transfer the load from the superstructure to the foundation, the soil. And deep foundations are required either the superstructure is very heavy or the soil is very weak. To classify, the shallow foundations are the foundations where the depth of foundation is less than or equal to the width of foundation. So its depth is very less compared to the width of the foundation. And the deep foundation, they're having more depth. So this is the foundation. This is just a footing which is placed on below the main foundation. So here the depth is more than the width of the foundation for the deep foundation. There are various classifications for the shallow foundations. That means the normal foundations that we will go for a single story building. So one is the wall footing or strip footing, which we are commonly used for the regular single story buildings. So here there is a footing or foundation. It is provided below the wall. So the wall is directly resting on the plinth and the plinth is taking the load to the foundation. So we are having a strip-like length, like a foundation will be throughout the length of the wall. It could be even a straight or simple footing or like the stepped footing based on the convenience. We have isolated or column footing. So the previous one was for the wall and this is for the column. So in the column or the frame structure which is having columns and beams, we can transfer the load from column to the ground through the isolated, it means single foundation for single column in a very simple way. It could be a single foundation or it could be step foundation or it could be also sloped foundation for economical and the design orientation, design point of view. We are having other type of foundation called combined foundation. The combined foundation, suppose if two columns are located very near to each other, then instead of providing single footing to individual columns, we can provide a single footing which takes load from two columns, or a single foundation is providing or single foundation is enough for transferring the load from two columns to the ground. This combined footing can be in the shape of rectangular or it can be in the trapezoidal. So if the columns are having equal loads, we will go for a rectangular one, and the trapezoidal we are using when two columns are having unequal loads. So the Smaller width case will be provided for the column having lesser load and higher width for the column having higher load. Other type of footing is the cantilever footing or strip footing. Suppose we are having two columns which are far separated. So to make the continuity between the foundations, we can connect the foundation 1 to foundation 2 by a strap beam. So this strap beam will hold two columns together and it will act like a single structure. Other foundation is called as a continuous footing. We're having a single or like a single foundation which is taking the load of all the columns resting on that. This is provided based on the economical point of view and also the orientation of the columns. Then into the deep foundation. So I already told the deep foundations are used for very heavy structures or if the soil is very weak. So the main classification of deep foundation is the pile foundation. The pile, there are two ways of transferring the load of the superstructure to the ground by using the pile. One is the end-bearing pile and one is frictional pile. In the case of end-bearing pile, the load from the superstructure is transferred to the ground or to a deeper strata, like a rock strata, well at a deeper point through the help of long piles. Suppose if you are unable to find a deeper strata or hard strata below the ground at a higher depth, then we can go for a friction pile. So in the case of friction pile, the friction between the perimeter or circumference of the pile and the soil will take the load. The pile can be made by concrete, steel, timber, whatever material which is suitable. So it's about the materials used can be wooden, concrete pile, steel pile, pre-stressed, and so and so. The piles can be either cast in situ or it can be pre-cast. Cast in situ means we will go to the site, we will drill a hole and we will pour the concrete into the hole, and once it's set it will become a pile. Other option is we are taking a already casted pile and we are hammering into the ground. So cast in situ means we are making the pile in the ground itself. And I told you also regarding the driven pile or precast pile. Other type of foundation is the well foundation. It is also a deep foundation which is used to transfer very heavy loads and used for mainly the bridges and the towers as they're having very higher loads. It is basically a pile having a bigger diameter in simple point of view. So there are various shapes of well foundation. It could be a circular well shape, double well shape, rectangular dumb. So these are all design perspective. Like the designer can choose which is suitable for the case. And the right side picture depicts the various components of a well foundation. So we are having the substructure and there will be a well cap will be there, and the outer shell is transferring the load to a hard strata, and we can fill the inner areas or the inner part with the sand fill, and the outer part is called as the well staining. And there should be some grip length, that means the length of well foundation goes into the ground level. So these are the explained components of well foundation. Well cap is a as a top which transfers the load from superstructure to the steining as well as the soil which is positioned or placed inside. Then curve the shape, the cutting edge to penetrate into the ground. And we have the bottom plug to avoid the lateral movement of the well foundation. So in this case, the walls are taking the load from the slabs, and the walls are directly resting on the plinth, and it is transferred to the ground. And in the case of frame building, we are having slab, beam, and column combination in the superstructure for transferring the weight of superstructure, and it is transferred to the ground through the plinth. So here, in the case of load bearing masonry, as I explained first, as the bricks are taking the load, the bricks should be of higher quality and should be designed accordingly. So this marks the end of this presentation. Thank you.